everybody, welcome back to another Ford Ranger video. Well, today I've got something exciting. I have decided to kind of redeem myself and do a video on the one thing that I actually didn't film on the truck. I installed a doubled-in stereo about maybe a year ago or so, but I decided to go ahead and upgrade it with this Sony XAV X1000. Got it on Amazon, and I'll put a link in the description. Anyway, this is a doubled-in. This has Apple CarPlay, which I was looking to add. So it just arrived. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up, and I'll do sort of a step-by-step install. Although, like I said, I've already installed a doubled-in into the truck once, so I already did all of the cutting. I imagine I'm probably going to have to, cut the bezel maybe a little bit more. I'm not even sure what I'm going to run into. I know that this stereo is, it's not a full doubled in like the old one, because the old one has a CD player. This one does not. And so this physically I think is a little bit smaller. I'm not sure how it's going to measure up as far as the, the width and the height goes. But anyway, I guess we'll figure that out as we go along. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up, take a look at it, and then I'll take you into the truck and show you what I'm going to do. Alright, with this opened up, you can see it came with a remote and some manuals, and this is it. Like I said, it's really a lot smaller than the old one. It's kind of a singled in with the doubled in face, and you can get away with that since you don't have a CD player, or an optical drive I should say. I did a lot of research. This stereo got some good reviews, and it's got the preamps in the back, or the pre-outs for an amp that I would like to add down the road. Because it's Apple CarPlay, it's got, basically everything your phone has. So I guess I'm going to open this up, and I'm hoping, I don't know what the bracket situation is going to be like. I did pick up, yeah, it doesn't look like it comes with any brackets. I did pick up kind of a universal mounting kit from Walmart, hoping maybe I could use that, but I guess we'll see. Stay tuned. All right, here in the truck, as you can see, I do already have a doubled-in installed, and I did have to cut the bezel on the top and on the bottom with a Dremel, so I won't need to do that now. But I have a feeling, I'm not sure how wide this is going to be compared to the new one, but anyway, we'll figure it out. I ended up putting some black foam on the sides to kind of take up the room, and I'm pretty happy with that, so I'll probably end up doing the same thing. Anyway, in order to get started, got two, I think they are 7mm right there. Remove those, and then this bezel is held in with pressure clips all around the side. You unplug the 12 volt, and I do have to warn you, the previous owner, unfortunately, to my dismay, cut the factory harness and did butt connector splices, so I'm going to have to end up doing the same thing. I was not very happy when I found out that the factory harness was cut, because normally I always recommend, buying the adapter and just plugging it in. That way you can take the stereo in and out as needed, but it kind of is what it is at this point. One other thing I should mention, when I did this last time, when I cut this this bezel right here, the factory coating that was on there, and a lot of you Ranger guys can probably relate, it was kind of like a soft touch coating, and it was scratched and all coming off. So it took me probably a good hour to go ahead and remove all the rest of it, and then I gave the whole thing a coat of satin black, and it's really nice. I'm really happy with it. So that soft touch coating is no more. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get this out, show you what it looks like behind there. Well, the old stereo is out, and as you can see, it is a mess back here. Everything's spliced together. That irks me. There's nothing I can really do about it at this point. So I have both 12 volts unplugged, one there and one there, and then I've got fog lights. So the fog light harness is right there. The stereo, the old one I should say, comes off with this. It's a big honking thing. Plenty of room in there, but the new one is a heck of a lot smaller. Everything unplugs on the back there. My concern is mounting the new one. The new one didn't really come with any brackets at all, and I did get a universal kit. I don't know what I'm going to be able to use, so I'm probably going to have to improvise something. I may have to end up ordering parts. I don't know. I guess we'll see once I get into it. I'm going to go ahead and bring this into the garage and take the old one out and fit up the new one. All right, I've got the old unit out, and now I see what I did. It's got this sleeve that is attached actually pretty well to this bezel. The bezel was cut to fit this sleeve, and luckily enough, this new stereo fits perfectly inside that bezel, and it will allow me to go ahead and attach it with the screws that it came with through the side there. Now, I guess I'll be losing this bezel for the old stereo, but I didn't really plan on installing that old stereo into anything anyway. But if it makes the installation nice and clean for the truck, I guess that's all they care about. And it does still have the same room on the side. I can use these, well, they're like foam weather strip. They're sticky. I can use them on both sides, and it should end up looking okay. So I guess the first thing to do is to go ahead and get this mounted in the incorrect sleeve. I wanted to show you the, when I mounted this old stereo, there was a bezel that stuck down here, top and the bottom, and I had to Dremel that off. And now I remember I also had to cut this metal sleeve in order to fit. It was a real big production. I didn't end up filming any of it, but that's all right. The stereo's coming out anyway. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is if you were adding this stereo from scratch, it's going to depend. You obviously are not going to have this bracket. You're going to have to probably find something else on your own. And I did get this this mounting kit here. It's by Scosche. Came from Walmart. I'm probably not going to use any of this. I'll probably just end up returning it. I think it was like 16 bucks or something. That's funny. The stereo on there looks almost like the one I'm installing. I'm going to see if I can get away. It's just a bunch of plastic brackets and stuff like that. So if I can get away without using that, I know that this fits perfectly, and there will be a little gap at the top and the bottom and the sides, but that's going to be the case no matter what stereo you use, because this was never really designed. I mean, it was a little bit different. I think it was actually a little bit larger than a normal doubled in. And when I bought this truck, it did not come with the factory stereo, which is probably just an AM/FM CD player back in 2002. So anyway, just wanted to show you that. There was a lot of custom fabrication. You're going to have to end up doing some custom fab depending upon the stereo you get, but just know that you're going to have to end up cutting this top and bottom, so just be aware. Well, it took about 5 minutes, or not even 5 minutes really. This new stereo is in here nice and secure into the existing sleeve, and I'm using the same foam. I pried it off the other one. It's a little distorted, and I may try to find some new foam, just because when I pulled it out, it got a little torn a little bit. This may not be to your taste, but quite frankly, when it's in there, you know, that's kind of what you're looking at. It's a pretty good solution to a problem. You know, didn't really cost anything. I had it laying around. It was gray, and I just took a black marker and kind of colored on the sides of it. Other than that, this thing is, it's in here nice and tight, and it is ready to go ahead, and I'm going to wire up. Let's see, I've got the harness right here. Oh, that's for the microphone. Gonna wire all this stuff up. It's kind of silly. This green one is supposed to be wired to your parking brake. Pretty much everybody knows all you have to do is just ground it to allow this unit to work while you're in motion. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Strip everything. I'm gonna use some butt connectors because that's what I have and that's what's in there, and I've never had a problem with them. And this is turning out to be a lot easier than I was expecting. So I'm gonna go move myself to the truck. Nope, I lied. What I'm gonna do actually is, because it's a lot easier to do it here on the workbench, I'm gonna strip and mount the butt connectors to the side of this. That way, once I get to the truck, I can cut those out. And it's a lot harder to work with your hands inside the dash like that. So, got my crimpers, my strippers. I like these strippers. I forget where I got them. I don't know, maybe AutoZone or something, I forget. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get this all prepped and get this installed. I've got all my butt connectors installed on the harness. And just real quickly before I go to the truck, this is pretty universal, and any stereo you buy is gonna come with, you know, probably a similar diagram. All the colors, like I said, are pretty universal. Speakers, power, ground, everything's pretty standard. So, and when I install this, when I cut off the old harness, they're all going to be the same color, so it's going to be very easy for me to just cut it and then splice it and then plug this in. I will have to run this microphone because the old phone had a microphone built in, but that's no big deal. I can easily do that. And the black ground and this green one that is just marked parking brake, this is also a ground. I'm gonna go ahead and fuse those things together because I just want this to work all the time and not necessarily just when the parking brake's installed. You can do whatever you want. Do that at your own risk, as they say. Anyway, I'm pretty much ready to move on to the truck at this point, I promise. All right, back here at the truck, the first thing I'm gonna do is gonna go ahead and run this microphone wire. I'm just gonna drop it down through there now, and I'll fish it down below. But ultimately, I want it to come up and mount right about here. And I can stick it behind this trim. I'll do that last, but I wanna, you know, kind of drop this down there before I forget about it. One other thing I think I noticed that I ran into is I think the antenna is, the size is gonna be different. And I don't think this is gonna fit. I might need some sort of adapter. I'm not worried about that. I'll have to come back later with an adapter. I don't really listen to the radio pretty much ever anyway, so not that big of a deal. I think this is the wrong size for the back of the stereo. Anyway, we'll have to figure it out. Or maybe it's not. Maybe I can just end up bending this to give it clearance to go into the back of there. We'll see. Not too worried about that. All right, in looking at this mess, I mean, it's not really a mess. It's pretty well organized, I guess. All the speakers are, this is the old wiring harness that plugs into the old stereo. It's just a matter of, they're all the same color. I'm gonna cut them all individually and attach them. I guess the old owner ran new dedicated speaker wire, which is pretty much overkill for the low quality of speakers in this truck, but whatever. So it looks like I've got front and rear, front and rear there, and then the rest of these are going to be for, this one's going to be for the power and the backup camera and everything on there. So it's going to be really hard to kind of show each one individually, but you can see, if you've never done a stereo before, this is really pretty easy. Everything's marked, and the old harness is exactly the same color combination as the new harness. It might be a little washed out in the sun, but you get the point. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut all this off and get the new one on, and let's try a transition here. New harness is all wired up. We got all the speaker wires taped together. Everything's organized. This new stereo has just one harness that plugs into the back. This is for the backup camera, and everything was well marked. This one is for the microphone. Got your radio antenna, and that's pretty much it. So now I just need to go ahead and plug everything in. I anticipate everything should work. All the connections are nice and tight. And this is for an amp. I'm gonna get a powered subwoofer amp for under the seat. I'll do that in another video. I'll pick that up one of these days. And the only other thing that's not hooked up is the wire for this is for the illumination. I don't care so much about that. I guess what that would do is allow this to dim, you know, when you dim your panel lights or whatever. I always keep my panel lights on at full blast, so not a big deal. But I'm sure the factory one is in there someplace. Like I said, nothing's marked, everything's just kind of cut off. So I'm not going to worry about this illumination one, but everything else is hooked up. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this in and turn it on. Just real quickly looking at the back here, yeah, the antenna is definitely not going to fit. This receptacle is a lot bigger. I'll just get an adapter and pull this out one day. But this blue one's for steering wheel controls. I don't have that. And this is for the microphone. I'll plug that in. This is the main harness over here. Pretty self-explanatory. And when I get, I guess, a subwoofer, it'll go here. This is for the backup camera. And that's already installed in the truck. Did that a long time ago. No video on that, but that's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, there's lots of videos out there you can look up. Anyway, I'm gonna plug this in and it should power. Right, everything's installed and it sounds great. Oh my God, so much better than the other one. The Apple CarPlay works perfectly. Like all, you know, of those, you have to plug it in. Now I've got this this extra long cable right here. And what I'm going to do is actually, it plugs into the front. That's not my favorite scenario. I like stuff to plug into the back, but you know, whatever. I'm going to plug it in there and I'm going to run the wire in and down and kind of maybe underneath the mat or something if I can, up into this area right here where I can keep the phone, or I don't know, maybe I'll mount something down there. Either way, I don't like, you know, wires plugged into the front of stuff. I still have to run the microphone over here, which I will do, and all the features work. Backup camera works. God, everything sounds phenomenal on this. I'll just throw it into reverse real quickly, and there you go. Not sure if you can see that, it's a little washed out, but I'm going to do another video of all of the features of this, and I'll do a demonstration, and probably at that point I'll have this wire kind of hardwired in there and tucked. But for right now, I'm pretty happy. You can definitely change all the colors. You got a bunch of different options, different wallpapers and stuff like that. So very, very happy with this, especially for the price. The price was very good, and I'll put a link in the description below. But like I said, I'll do another video of the demonstration. So that's going to pretty much do it for now. Let me know if you have any questions, and look forward to another Ford Ranger video coming soon. Until then, we'll catch you on the flip side.